Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Meeples Included. It's on strategy versus tactics today. This is relevant to all different types of gaming out there, and it's really important to understand the difference between these two terms that are often conflated. I'm going to look at strategy and tactics across a number of different games and hopefully give you some useful ways to break it down for yourself to make a long, complicated game of Terra Mystica, chess, Magic, any other game more manageable by chunking it into pieces that you can then use to formulate long-term game plans that are useful and winning. The first thing to look at, though, is each of these words. Strategy is the what you are trying to do. It is your goals. Tactics is the how you get there. What are the individual pieces, the actions that you take to implement that strategy? Overall, you have a goal, which is to win. Then you have strategies, which are ways to get to that goal. So in war, you're looking at things like air dominance or propaganda. Then you have tactics that implement that strategy. So if air dominance is your strategy, you have radar jamming, anti-aircraft guns, and surface-to-air missiles. Think of this as a mountain where the pinnacle is your goal. There's going to be a series of different strategies that you try to implement, and then beyond that, a giant number of tactics that relate to each of those strategies. They may even relate to multiple strategies. Strategy is what we humans are really good at. We like to take things and try to understand them in a larger narrative, in a story, in a plan. Tactics are what computers are really good at. Computers, if you give them the right set of parameters, they'll give you the correct answer. Take, this is what happens. Evaluate the number of forced wins with a particular set of cards in Onitami. Calculate the next few actions and what the point outcome is for each player in a board game. Look at a particular board state and figure out if it is advantageous to attack in Magic or not. The tactical ideas are almost all calculatable, where strategic is more of a thinking, broader idea. Good tactics come from having a good strategic position. Yes, your opponent can make a blunder and you can take advantage of it occasionally with a tactic, but usually your strong tactics are because you've found the right plan for a game and you're implementing it successfully, and then a tactic arises and you're able to take advantage of that. Let's look at an example here in chess. Strategically, Black is doing really well in this famous game. All of his pieces are pointed at his opponent's kingside, superior development, superior coordination. Yeah, his pawn structure is not so great. All of the other strategic factors are pointing towards a win. And here, Black plays sacrificing his queen into a winning attack by taking the bishop on f3. That is the tactic. That is the execution of the plan in a strategically winning position. Tactics in chess you can calculate out, such as this mate in 2 puzzle. Strategy is much tougher. The game we're looking at there under the strategy side, finding the right move there is very difficult and takes a player with a long-term plan and long-term thinking to find the right move. In classic card games, such as Bridge or Spades, this is a Spades hand that I had recently, you have a strategy of getting to a certain number of tricks. And there's many ways to even bid this Spades hand. You can bid it very low and take almost no tricks, or you can bid it very high and take a bunch of tricks. And which of those strategies you go for is going to be dependent on the position and the scores of other people. If someone else is about to win with 1 or 2 tricks, maybe you need to give them some extra over tricks so that they go down and you catch back up. Often maximizing points may not be the best strategy, so there's multiple strategies. The tactics in a game like Spades is, do I bleed out trump? Do I slough off high cards that I don't want, or do I take advantage of them? each of those tactics can be used to implement different strategies. In Magic, especially when playing with some of the older, more complicated cards, there's a huge number of different strategies ranging from combo to tempo to control. In a counterbalance, Sensei's Divining Top, Miracles deck, you're often trying to strategically stabilize, then get to your win position and close the game out. By contrast, in a Rug Delver type deck where you are attacking on a razor's edge, you've got a short period of time to close the game out, you're trying to do damage as quickly as possible and stifle your opponent's mana base, you have very different strategic plans. And when you get to certain decision points in the game, you need to look at your strategy, whether you win the long game or you win the short game, and then implement particular tactics to make that happen. If your opponent has just dropped Sensei's Divining Top and Counterbalance, have they given you a tactical window where you can force through a card or a winning threat? Strategy in Magic is all about understanding your deck and the matchup that you're up against. Do you win the long game? Do you win the short game? What are your paths to victory? And then tactics in Magic is how you implement those particular plans. For Terra Mystica, which I recently did a review of, a common strategy is to put out some buildings that give you access and control to a larger area of territory. So it's an area control aspect. You may even spend a few extra resources early on to create a wall or a barrier that gives you exclusive access to a piece of the board, because later when the board becomes heavily contentious, you have somewhere to expand where no one else does. By contrast, in Terra Mystica, when you choose to exile your power is a tactic, one that can be used very, very well to jump up early on in your engine building or later to get to a particular bonus that you need that other people could have gotten. Each of these tactics should be evaluated to make sure that they fit into the strategic plan that you're putting forward. In Luna, which MaggieBot just did a review of, one strategy is to dominate the temple so that you're getting points every single turn. And then a tactic that helps execute that is accelerating the game so that other people can't move into the temple and you can get the maximum number of points possible. In Onitame, this is a very tactical game that has some strategic ideas. Tiger is one of the most powerful cards out there. Strategically, it allows you to control more space and force your opponent back. A tactic in Onitama is when you calculate out the cards that are on the board that people are aware of, which it's open information entirely, and you find a way to sacrifice or divert or to win an extra piece given the exchange that has to happen. So that calculation involved is really the execution of the idea. In chess, your goal is to checkmate. Your strategies are things like area control, development, pawn structure. Your tactics are skewers, pins, forks, doubling your opponent's pawns, or an exchange sacrifice. In Onitama, you have two different goals, and this is very important. In many games, there's more than one way to win. Capturing your opponent's leader piece or getting your leader to the other side. Your strategies are area control, development. Your tactics are sacrifice, diversion, maybe monopolizing or holding a card. In Luna, the goal is most points, very common in board game. You have strategies that include time, development, control, and the tactics are accelerating the game, diverting individuals' attention, shadowing them, taking waiting moves, developing extra actions later. Weaving these into a narrative gives you the best plan given what other people are doing in Luna. A little bit of a preview of an upcoming video that I'm doing. The threat is often stronger than the execution. Tactics are not something to just be jumped on at every moment. Tactics used are often weaker than tactics available to you. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. For more strategic and tactical videos, please subscribe to the channel. This has been Brian Rowe. If If you're interested in more board gaming content, check out meeplesincluded.com or the YouTube channel for Meeples Included.